On today's show, Kawhi Leonard goes off for 55 points in a Clippers win over the Pistons. The Lakers rout the Kings. Scottie Barnes has an insane triple-double as the Raptors get a win in overtime. And we talk about all that in every game from Sunday right here on Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
What's up, everybody? My name is Danny Cunningham from Locked On Cavs, Swipa from Locked On Nuggets, and thank you for making another edition of Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today, and thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. Because of you, the Locked On Podcast Network is now the #1 sports podcast network in all of America. You can find this show and any other Locked On pod wherever you get them. That's Apple, Spotify, YouTube as well, so please hit that thumbs up button. As we get started, click subscribe wherever you're listening, and hit that notification bell on YouTube so you don't miss the latest from us. In today's episode, brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We begin in LA as the Clippers get a 112-99 win over the Detroit Pistons. Kawhi Leonard, Swipa, sets a career-high 55 points, goes for 11 boards, 5 steals as well. He's 17 of 26 from the floor, 5 of 10 from 3, 16 of 17 from the free throw line. Truly just in one of, if not the best performances of Kawhi's career. I didn't realize that he only had 9 40-point games in his entire career going into this, but watching this game from start to finish, really start to the end of the third quarter, because he didn't need to do much in the fourth quarter, was just an absolute masterpiece from him.
Yeah, I was shocked. As somebody who was very on board with the Clippers before the year started, I just thought that they were going to be like an elite team, this whole season. And I was just prepared for, all right, the Western Conference is going to be completely stacked, and it's going to be the Wolves, it's going to be the Nuggets, it's going to be the Thunder, the Rockets, and then it's going to be the Clippers. And then the Clippers just said, no, Magic, I'm not going to be there. But shout out to the Clippers. They've been playing way better lately, thank goodness. And I actually am really hopeful for them still, that they can make a little bit of a turnaround. I'm sorry, I just don't believe they're that bad of a team where they're just not going to be any good all season. And by the way, the Clippers in the last 5 games, per the chat, they are 4-1. They have the 7th best offense in the NBA over the last 5 games, and they have the 7th best defense in the NBA over the last 5 games as well. So the good news is I think that this little resurgence you're getting from them is real. I wouldn't be shocked, man. Kawhi, he's healthy. He's having a very good year under the radar. Again, nobody's paying attention because of the aspiration trees things and, all the other stuff. But Kawhi this year, y'all, 27.5, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals a game, 49.5 from the field, 37.5 from free throw, 97.6 from the line. I think they're looking good. That's plus James Harden's playing well. Let's do it.
Well, and I mean, to look at the standings, and I think it's a little early to really start considering this, but they're only 2.5 games out of the plan. The season is not as lost as it maybe felt a week ago. As you mentioned, they've won 4 straight games. And I do think here it's worth looking ahead to what their schedule is, because they play again on Tuesday at home against the Sacramento Kings. That to me sounds like a very winnable game. They play Thursday at home against the Utah Jazz. Granted, the Jazz have been playing some good basketball lately, but that's a very winnable game. Then they've got the Boston Celtics at home. Celtics will be at the end of a West Coast road trip at that point. That's a very winnable game. Then they've got the Golden State Warriors, who really can't figure out if they're going to be a good team or a bad team. This winning streak, which is at 4 games right now, I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, the Clippers, who came into this stretch at 6-21 in the season before getting to 10-21. I'm not going to predict that they win their next 4, but their next 4 games before they head out east for a long road trip are all very winnable games. And I do think that, to your point about them potentially getting things turned around, this is the spot on the schedule where they can start to build some momentum. They can start to build some confidence, and they can kind of say, you know what? We can't do anything about those first 27 games where we went 6-21. That's in the past. but what we can do is sort of press a refresh button on our season, right? Like they can be a team that can say, for us, the season started at Christmas. The rest of that was bad and it still counts, but we can turn things around starting right now. And they look like a team where that is possible.
Do you think there's anything to like talent always finds a way to even itself out? Like the Clippers were never, ever going to be this bad. And really, no matter what happened, they were going to find a way to right the ship. Do you think that's kind of going to be their story? They still are able to make the playoffs?
So I think that they were always too talented of a team to be where they were at. And part of it was like Kawhi missed 2.5 weeks, right, in November. And that matters when your best player is out for that amount of time, and health always matters in these small sample size type things. I do believe that talent will always even itself out. I think that you need more than talent to get to the top, like to where, and I wasn't quite as high on the Clippers as you were, but I thought they were going to be very good this year. I don't know that talent is enough to get them to where we both thought they could be before this season, if that makes sense. But I do think talent is enough. They have enough on the roster to be a playoff team this year. Like I think, and maybe making the top 6 is not going to happen, but can they get through the play-in? Absolutely. Like in a 1-game sample size, can Kawhi Leonard be the best player on the floor in almost any game that's involving teams from 7 through 10 in the West? Yeah, no question about that.
Yeah, I'm just, for one, as somebody who loves the NBA, and I think that like Kawhi obviously and Harden are great players. I want to see what they do as the stakes rise throughout the year. So congratulations to them for getting another win. That was phenomenal from Kawhi. 51 points is 3 quarters. It's ridiculous.
It was insane. I mean, watching his first half was nuts. Like it was just perfection. Then he had 26 points alone in the third quarter. And part of me was really pulling, and Kawhi did go back into the game despite the Clippers were up like 23 going into the fourth. I was really pulling for the Pistons to go on a run just to make it close. So like Kawhi needs to go close this out to see if he could get up to 60. And ultimately, like they didn't need him to do that. They just needed a little bit to get over that hump. But I was hoping to see a little bit more from him in this game. As far as things go for the Pistons in this one, Cade Cunningham was in foul trouble in the first half. Part of the reason why his numbers weren't necessarily great in this one, he had 3 fouls in the first quarter and had to sit for about 10 minutes. He finishes with 27 points. A lot of those came in the second half, but it wasn't necessarily like the most impactful Cade Cunningham game that I think we've seen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, obviously, that you weren't able to get more out of him. But, I do think there's something to playing versus the Clippers team, like just the way they play, who they have on the floor. They're just going to put you in a lot of disadvantageous situations. But, Cade's has some interesting officiating luck over the last few games. And so, obviously, this is kind of an extension of that. But shout out to him still being able to put 27 points up, 9 assists. He shot 50% from the field as well. Like, that's still a really good game. Jalen Duren also at 18 and 14 today. And then that war on the interior between him and Brook Lopez was interesting. Obviously, he won that. But it was just good seeing him continue to take this leap that he's taken as a basketball player and how he's getting better. But the biggest story of this, man, is like the starters, especially Tobias Harris, Duren, and Duncan Robinson, they got obliterated in those minutes today, like annihilated. So do you think that some of the rub with the Pistons, do you think that the rest of the league is kind of catching up to where they are? Like they got off to obviously to a terrific start so far this year. I'm looking at it now, like just over the last 10 games, like in terms of just like net rating FC, they're 5th. They're 7-3 over the last 10 as well. Do we see a world where they continue to hold on to that top standing in the Eastern Conference?
I would be surprised if they finish as the 1 seed. And like, I think that the Pistons are a very good basketball team, but I think that they were a little bit of fool's gold with the record. Like the winning streak that they went on was awesome, but you kind of got to dig a little bit deeper into who they were playing, right? Like they played Dallas at a time when Dallas was very much not good. Memphis was a mess. Utah was bad. Brooklyn, Philly didn't have Embiid at that point. Washington, Chicago, Philly again without Embiid. Indiana, like they racked up and give them credit because in the NBA, it's no win as we have seen is guaranteed on a night-to-night basis in this league. And they took care of business consistently against teams that they should beat. But it's just that during that winning streak, basically every team they were playing was a team that they should beat. And again, give them credit for doing it. But to me, it's not like they went out there and really proved it against teams like OKC and Denver and Houston, or even the New York Knicks during that stretch, right? So I do think that was a little bit of fool's gold. Like, they're still a really good team. They'll be a top 4 seed in the East. They'll probably be a top 2 seed in the East. But I don't think that they're like a championship contender in my book. Do you see it different?
Yeah. I think at this point, they're still a championship contender. I think that if I'm looking at the Eastern Conference as it is, I would say that I would have the Knicks to be number 1 on that list right now. But, if you told me that it was going to be Knicks Pistons, when everything kind of settled and it mattered the most, and that was going to be the series that we got, I'd be with it. But a sneaky team in this conversation that's not getting love is the Boston Celtics, man. They continue to have an all-time great offense currently. Like, their defense is finding its way a little bit. Obviously, they're not like doing super well, but they reportedly could get Tatum back, which I'm not on team Tatum come back in 2025-26. But all the metrics that talk about basketball, they say that they're the second best team in the Eastern Conference. So there could be a world where Boston's there at the end of the day too.
There could be. We will have to wait and see. But speaking of Boston, they did take on the Portland Trailblazers on Sunday, and they did not come out on the right side of that. Let's hear from John Corrales real quick about what happened between Boston and the Blazers.
We love talking about who wants it more. This was a game of who wanted it less, and the Celtics wanted it less than the Blazers. I'm John Corrales of the Locked On Celtics podcast. In the last minute 8 of this game, where it was a 1-point game, the Celtics turned it over 4 times. And it wasn't just the Celtics. It was Derek White, very reliable. Jaylen Brown, the best player, one of the best players in the league this season, an MVP candidate. And they looked lost, confused, miscommunications all over the place. It was so bad. The Celtics only took 1 shot in the last minute and 45 seconds. 1 shot. And that was a Derek White 3 that he made. In that tight a game, the Celtics execution, which at times has been really good, but at times has looked horrible. This was one of the horrible games. And this is a stretch of winnable games for the Celtics. So this one here, where the Blazers were giving them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to win, the Celtics didn't take it. This one hurts. They're not going to go perfect. They're going to lose to some of these teams, but this was a game that they absolutely should have won, and it was their stars letting them down. I'll break it all down on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Do you have anything to add from that, or should we just direct everybody over to John?
Go ahead. Go see John Corrales for all your news.
Go see John Corrales if you're a Celtics fan and want to vent. I did see the alley-oop to Neemish Queta as time was nearing expiration in the fourth quarter that was almost thrown over the backboard. I think just kind of goes along with what John was saying, but we'll dive into everything else that happened on Sunday, including Scottie Barnes posting an absolutely bonkers stat line next right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. But first, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, right? And FanDuel is making them even better because every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour, your official pregame. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern time have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour because opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. You've got boosts, you've got bonuses, you've got surprises that you wouldn't believe. It's easy to check out the weekly special before tip-off and make your move before the window closes. Timing is perfect because it's right before the games, right? Like you've got that primetime game on Friday night this upcoming week. It's actually team I cover, the Cleveland Cavaliers, against the team Swipa covers, the Denver Nuggets, at 7:30, and Happy Hour will take you right up until then. It adds a little bit of extra energy to your Friday night basketball viewing experience, and you don't have to overthink it. It's simple, easy, and fun. So before tip off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NBA. Thank you again for making today's edition of Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen. Make sure you check out the Locked On NBA Everydayer Club. A link is in the show description, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube as well. There you will find access to ad-free episodes of this show, plus an exclusive invite to the Everydayer Discord server. We head on over to Toronto as the Raptors get a 141-127 overtime win over the Golden State Warriors. There's a lot to say about what Scottie Barnes did in this game, and we're going to have Sean Woodley from the Locked On Raptors tell us more.
Who needs a healthy starting center when you have Scottie freaking Barnes? The Toronto Raptors take down the Golden State Warriors 141-127 at home on Sunday. And Scottie Barnes was the single biggest reason why they pulled out this win. A fourth quarter comeback. They trailed by as many as 12 in the late going in this one. They come back. They win overtime 19-5. And it's all about Scottie. 23 points, 25 rebounds, and 10 assists on 11 of 17 shooting. The first ever 20-20-10 triple-double in Raptors history, and he becomes just the second active player to own a 20-25-10 game alongside, of course, Nikola Jokic. Incredible company for Barnes, who continues to play at an all-defense and borderline all-NBA level for the 4-seed Toronto Raptors, who, yes, have had their struggles over the last month or so, though arguably the biggest reason for those struggles, the absence of RJ Barrett, was solved tonight. He came back from his knee injury after a 15-game absence, looked pretty good in limited minutes, and hopefully having him back will help the Raptors regain some of the offensive success they found early on this season. The one thing still hanging over this team is the health of Jakob Poeltl, who we'll get an update on tomorrow. He's missed the last handful of games, but in and out all year with back trouble, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be necessarily a positive outlook on the update we get tomorrow. But if Scottie Barnes can keep on playing like that at the 5, maybe the Raptors stand a chance of weathering however much more time Poeltl needs out. They also signed Mo Bamba today for whatever that's worth. But Scottie Barnes, unbelievable stuff. Him at the 5, it's better than most backup 5s you're going to get in the NBA, and he very much proved that tonight as the starting center for the Raptors in a big overtime win to bounce back from a nasty loss to the Wizards on Friday.
25 rebounds a game, sustainable for Scottie Barnes, Swipa?
If you're playing the Warriors, who do not employ a real center, and Quentin Post is the best option, yeah, maybe. But yeah, that number is crazy. You know, we're at the, we're just at the point now, by the way, Danny, where the not since Wilt stat is the not since Jokic stat. I mean, that's kind of where the NBA is.
It says a lot about Jokic.
Yeah, and so Scottie, I saw that today on when the final number came up on the board. I'm like, I didn't even realize he had 25 rebounds in this game. Like, that's wild. So Scottie's a really good player, man. He's truly a jack of all trades when it comes to the basketball game, man. He just today, the finishing, the weak side defense that he had, the vertical spacing that he offered for the team, the middle of the floor playmaking he has. He drove by Quentin Post to really put an emphatic possession on in overtime to like seal the game, to put him up 10. This was a great game from Scottie. You know, I know some people who are extremely high on Scottie Barnes. They believe that Scottie Barnes can be like an MVP level player. And I think the reason why they believe this is because you look at games like this, it's like, well, the people that Scottie Barnes is most imitating are all-time greats. And I think that he's just a supreme athlete. He's very mobile as well, and you saw that mobility play out today. A shout out to Emmanuel quickly, too. He was 5 of 10 from 3. He had 27 points in this game. Brandon Ingram took 26 shots, had 26 points. So, not the best shot died. He was 0 of 8 from 3 today. But again, 12 of 18 from 2 is really good. And that mid-range has been money for him this season.
Yeah, and Ingram didn't get to the free throw line very frequently. On the other side, Steph Curry goes for 39 points on 12 of 30 shooting, 4 of 11 from deep, hit all 11 free throws he took. Jimmy Butler didn't have a great night. He had 19 points on 6 of 16 shooting. Draymond Green hit 4 threes, and I don't know if you saw this, but there was a three-pointer where Scottie Barnes was supposed to defend Draymond, and he just turned his back on him waiting for the rebound, and the three-pointer from Draymond was pure, and he had some words for Scottie Barnes afterwards, but certainly not a good loss for a Warriors team that I think needs some good momentum right now being out east. They, as Sean mentioned, had a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter, couldn't close the deal, so certainly not a lot to feel great about if you're the Warriors right now, although Draymond going 50% from 3 is kind of funny, if nothing else.
Well, I mean, to be fair to Draymond, he really has worked on that shot, and this year, I'm looking at it right now, he's currently shooting 33.6% from 3 and 4.5 a game. That's not terrible. That's
terrible.
Good.
I wouldn't,
below league average.
I don't blame Scottie Barnes for turning his back and waiting for a rebound. I don't
33 is not 21. If Giannis shot that, then I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? But 34%, it's not terrible.
I don't blame Scottie for doing what he did. I can't blame him at all. I can't say that he's wrong there. Can't say whatsoever. But another team out west that maybe needed some good vibes and got them on Sunday is the Los Angeles Lakers, who had lost 3 straight games. They took on the Sacramento Kings on Sunday, and they get a much-needed win. Let's head out to Andy Kamenetsky from Locked On Lakers with more.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers get a 125-101 win over the Kings in LA. A date with Sacramento, always good for snapping a 3-game losing streak. But the Lakers also played a nice game tonight. Luka Doncic, 34 points and 7 assists. LeBron James, 24 points on 9 of 11 shooting, and 21 points for Nick Smith Jr., two-way guard off the bench. He is lined up to get some more opportunities for the Lakers, with Austin Reaves sidelined for at least a month, dealing with a calf strain, and the Lakers needing more dynamic scoring from their backcourt. So Nick Smith Jr. off to a good start with some more minutes coming his way. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
With the Austin Reaves news that he's going to miss some time, as Andy mentioned, is it time for the Lakers to make a move early? Like, do they have to be a team that's early to the trade market to try and stay afloat with that? Because, you know, they had, like, I get it, playing Sacramento for them is something that is always just a nice ego boost for the Lakers historically, but I don't think that erases what they've looked like lately.
No, I think that the Lakers are in desperate need of a trade. I just don't know what a trade actually is going to amount to them in terms of like overall results. Will it make them a better team and a more competitive team in the Western Conference? Yes, but again, they're older still. They're still slow. They played versus a very dysfunctional version of the Sacramento Kings. And like, you know, this is a Kings team, obviously, like, you know, Domantas Sabonis is not in this game. You know, Zach LaVine is not in this game. So if those players are there, obviously it makes a little bit of a difference. Obviously, they're missing Austin Reaves. So I think that the Lakers absolutely, for the sake of the fans, want to make a move, and they want to make some adjustments to the roster, especially getting a wing defender. But I just truly also don't think that even at 20-10, Danny, I think that their record is not indicative of just how good they actually are this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be, I mean, you have to look at it. They were 19-7 before that slide. And the slide was some tough games. And the Christmas Day game against Houston was certainly not a good representation of where they're at right now. But they've also been a team that has dealt with a lot of injuries, and they've overcome them for the most part. It'll be interesting to see, because they've missed Luka for stretches. They've missed LeBron for a big stretch to start the season. Now they're going to miss Reaves. I think it will be interesting to see which of those three being out is the most impactful or is the most missed when they're not out there, because I do think they relatively survived when they didn't have LeBron, when they didn't have Luka. Like, they stayed afloat. Can they do the same with Austin Reaves? I'm not so sure. Time will tell as far as that goes. We've got a couple games left to get to, including, don't look now, the Washington Wizards are not playing terrible basketball. We'll talk about them beating the Grizzlies, plus the Thunder, getting a win over the Sixers next, right here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Thank you again for making this show your first watch. You can find us every single day right here on Locked On NBA, not only with Game Night, but also Locked On NBA Daily, coming your way every afternoon, talking about all of the major topics across the NBA every single day. The Washington Wizards have not had a great season, but they pick up their 7th win of the year over the Memphis Grizzlies, 116-112 on Sunday in Washington. Let's head on over to Locked On Wizards for more.
But the Washington Wizards just won back-to-back games, first time since March. Wizards win, sweep the Memphis Grizzlies, 116-112. Alex Sarr tonight, 20 points, 6 blocks, the career high. It was a block party in the district tonight. Bilal Coulibaly, another good game offensively. Tonight, the Wiz just played team basketball, and although it looked like it was going to be scary towards the end of the game with John Morant cut it to 2, the Wizards found a way to win this game. This is a Wizard squad, a young squad that we want to see moving forward, competitive basketball. And you move on from this, Trey Johnson with a great game, Justin Champagnie. I mean, I can't say more nice things about this kid, guys. 10 points, 12 rebounds. At 6'6", bored man gets paid, as the wise man once said. Wiz win 2 in a row, 7th win on the season. Tomorrow they play Phoenix in the district. Let's go for 3, guys.
We'll see if they can get 3. I think beating the Suns right now is a tall task, but something to feel good about if you're the Washington Wizards. And this leads me to my trivia question of the night for you. Every team except for one in the NBA, has won back-to-back games at some point since the end of October. Who's the one team that hasn't?
Grizzlies?
It is
No,
not the Grizzlies.
Cavaliers.
No, the Cavaliers have. The Cavaliers won back-to-back games this past week.
Not won back-to-back games all season?
Since the end of October.
That's tough. I know it's a little quiet for a podcast, but I mean, I'm just trying to think of who the teams could be. I don't know. Who is it?
The Milwaukee Bucks. They are the only
Okay.
team in the NBA that has not won back-to-back games since the month of November started. Certainly not a great place to be. I believe they play on Monday night with an opportunity after they beat Chicago on Saturday to try and win back-to-back games for the first time in a long time. Of course, Giannis being out is a big part of that. But give the Washington Wizards credit. They're playing a little bit better, but even in their losses lately, I think they've been a more competitive basketball team. And that, I guess, if you're a Wizards fan, something to be excited about, if nothing else.
Agreed.
And then we move on to the final game of the night as the Oklahoma City Thunder played somebody other than the Spurs. So because they played somebody other than the Spurs, that means they most likely won, and they did. 129-104 over the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's head on out to Locked On Sixers for more.
The 76ers' third quarter struggles once again bit them in the butt. The 76ers lost 129-104 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but this was a game where they were close at the half. But what happened is in the third quarter, the Thunder made a conscious effort to get the ball out of Tyrese Maxey's hands. And guess what? They put the game away at that particular point. Maxey ended up with 28 points, but he had 23 in the first half. The Sixers dropped to 16-14, heading into Tuesday's game against the Memphis Grizzlies.
It was a close game at half, and to Keith's point, the Thunder outscored Philly 38-24. So it was not just making a conscious effort to get the ball out of Tyrese Maxey's hands. It was the fact that Philly had no answer for what the Thunder were doing offensively either. Chet Holmgren had 29 points to lead the way for OKC. SGA also had 27 points on a very efficient 10 of 13 from the floor on Sunday.
Yeah, with 8:42 left in the third quarter, it was a 2-point game. And then by the time you get to, I think it was like maybe like 4:15 left, it was like a 14-point lead or something like that. Like, yeah, the Thunder are just, they're crazy. And again, if you don't have the things that the Thunder struggle with, which is like size, ball handling, shooting, I mean, you're almost cooked. Like, and obviously no Embiid tonight either. But shout out Tyrese Maxey, because 23 points in the first half against this Thunder team, that's huge. That's a big deal. Tyrese Maxey's a baller. He right now is making second team All NBA as things stand.
He has had a fantastic start to the season so far. And I do think, too, it's even more impressive what he's been able to do considering the inconsistency as far as who's available, as far as his teammates go on a night-to-night basis. So for him to be able to keep up this level of play the way that he has, I certainly have been very impressed with it. But after all, like OKC, really, really good when they're playing a team that is not the San Antonio Spurs, because the Spurs have their number and they have everybody else's number. But that's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On NBA Game Night, where we talk about every single game from Sunday's NBA action. We will have you covered again tomorrow right here, same place, talking about all of the games from Monday's action. And before that happens, Locked On NBA Daily will have you covered, talking about all of the biggest storylines across the association. So as we get out of here, do us a favor, make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. That's Apple, that's Spotify, that's anywhere else. We are on YouTube as well. So please, as we leave, hit the thumbs up button for us, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And we'll be back right here on this channel talking more about the NBA a little bit later.